Bears fans, this season has taken us on one of those wild rides that nobody really prepares for, the kind where every week feels like a brand new chapter in a story that refuses to settle down. When Chicago opened the year with 2 straight losses, plenty of people panicked before the leaves even started turning. In that early frustration, some fans rushed to slap the bust label on Colston Loveland before the kid had even settled into the routine of the professional game. But football has this funny way of making early takes look ridiculous once the momentum shifts. And that is exactly what happened as Chicago found its rhythm. Once the Bears steadied the ship, the entire conversation around Loveland changed. The team stacked win after win, and suddenly the rookie tight end who was supposedly falling behind his peers started to close the distance with every snap. What looked like a massive miscalculation on draft night no longer feels like a mistake at all. Instead, it is slowly turning into one of the most intriguing rookie comparisons of the year, especially with the constant back and forth between Loveland and the Indianapolis standout who entered the league alongside him. Early in the season, it was almost impossible to avoid the chatter. Everyone was asking whether Chicago had drafted the wrong tight end, and at the time the answer felt painfully obvious. But time has a way of smoothing things out, and as Loveland finally got healthy, he started showing flashes that made the coaching staff believe he was worth that first-round investment. While the Colts rookie burst out of the gates, Loveland had to take a slower path because of the hip issue that limited him in September. Once he shook that off, you could feel his confidence building week after week, especially as he became more involved in Caleb Williams' passing game. Over the last month, Loveland has been playing like a weapon who understands exactly where he fits within Chicago's scheme. He is getting separation, creating mismatches, and doing the little things that the numbers do not always capture. And when you look at what he did in November, you can see just how quickly he has erased the gap that existed early on. Meanwhile, the Indianapolis rookie who started the year on fire has cooled off a bit, proving that even the most explosive players hit rough patches as defenses adjust. Loveland's surge became impossible to overlook when he delivered that massive catch-and-run late against Cincinnati, the kind of play that flips momentum and maybe even an entire season. It is not an exaggeration to say that Chicago's position in the division might look completely different right now if he had not turned that short pass into a sprint down the sideline. As for Indianapolis, the production has dipped, and the consistency that defined the first few weeks has not been there in the same way. It is not a knock on the Colts rookie. It just highlights how quickly things evolve once the season really starts grinding. Even with the November surge, nobody is claiming Loveland is having a better rookie season overall. His counterpart still sits near the top of the league among tight ends and receptions, yards and yards after the catch. But the rookie who entered the league with Chicago is finally in that conversation, and that alone is a major shift from where things stood in September. The two were drafted 4 picks apart, and now the difference between them feels nowhere near as large as it did on opening day. But the story of Chicago's rise cannot be told without mentioning the quarterback steering the ship. Caleb Williams has delivered moments that make fans believe they are watching the start of something special, even on the days when things are far from perfect. Against Pittsburgh, he had stretches where the offense sputtered, where the timing was off, where throws drifted behind receivers, and drives stalled before they even had a chance to breathe. If you looked only at his completion percentage, you might think he had one of the roughest outings of his young career. And yet, by the time the clock hit 0, the numbers still showed nearly 240 yards through the air, 3 touchdowns, and 0 interceptions. It is one of those games where the stat sheet tells a story that does not quite match what your eyes saw, because the accuracy problems were obvious throughout the afternoon. Even some of the completions required adjustments by his receivers, and that sack fumble deep in his own territory would have haunted plenty of Chicago quarterbacks of the past. Had the Bears lost, that play probably would have been replayed nonstop for an entire week. But what makes Williams different, what makes him feel like the kind of quarterback a franchise can build around, is the way he processes those mistakes. He never spirals, never lets one bad moment create a chain reaction of disasters. Instead of carrying that fumble into the next drive, he reset instantly. Where many young quarterbacks would tighten up or force throws in desperation, Williams remained calm and delivered scoring drives when Chicago needed them the most. The team fed off that composure, and the crowd felt it too. That steadiness is not something you can teach. It is something a quarterback either has or does not have. This is his first year in an offense known for its complexity, and he is still unlearning habits from the previous coaching staff while absorbing a system that demands precision. That makes his current trajectory even more impressive. If this is the baseline, if this is the worst version of him fans are going to see, then Chicago is in a far better position than anyone imagined after that rocky start. Even with the occasional misfires, he is pacing toward nearly 4,000 yards and more than 24 touchdowns, and the growth is happening in real time. What stands out even more is the way his teammates respond to him. They talk about his calmness, his ability to shrug off pressure, his almost icy demeanor when the game is on the line. That is why they gave him a nickname that fits the vibe he brings to the huddle. It is not about bravado or speeches. It is about presence. When things get chaotic, he brings everyone back to center, and that trait has already shown up in multiple late-game situations this season. There will be more highs and lows as the year continues, but the foundation is clear. Chicago has a young quarterback who handles adversity with maturity, a rookie tight end who is gaining momentum every week, and a roster that has learned how to respond when the game tightens. And as the season keeps unfolding, the storyline around this team is becoming one that nobody saw coming back in those early, frustrating weeks. As the season pushes deeper into its second half, the Bears continue to reveal layers that were impossible to see back when the team was stumbling through those early weeks. Every game feels like a test of something different, whether it is resilience, chemistry, or the ability to adjust under pressure. And somehow Chicago keeps finding answers that they simply did not have in recent years. What has become increasingly clear is that the growth of this team is not happening in isolated pockets. It is happening across the board, from the youngest rookies on offense to the veterans anchoring the defense, all moving in the same direction. One of the most fascinating developments has been how Caleb Williams has started to recognize the strengths of the talent around him. Instead of locking in on one or two safety blankets, he is beginning to spread the ball with a confidence that suggests he is finally seeing the field the way experienced quarterbacks do. You can tell by the way he manipulates defenders with his eyes, holds the safety for an extra second, and then fires to a completely different part of the field. Those details usually take young quarterbacks years to master, yet Williams is already showing a feel for them. The coaching staff has also done a much better job tailoring the offense to what Williams does best. Early in the season, the playbook felt stiff, almost as if everyone was trying too hard to prove that the scheme worked regardless if it was under center. But as the weeks rolled on, the staff loosened the structure and started playing to the quarterback's strengths, mixing in more improvisation, more movement, and more opportunities for him to create on the fly. That adjustment has allowed the offense to settle into a rhythm that is far more dynamic than it appeared during the first month. Chicago has also benefited from the steady presence of a defense that has been quietly improving in the background. At times, the defensive unit was the only thing holding the team together during those early stumbles, absorbing pressure and keeping games within reach until the offense figured things out. The group has been physical at the line of scrimmage, disciplined in the secondary, and opportunistic in the most critical moments. There's something about the way this defense plays that energizes the offense, creating a sort of balance that the Bears have been chasing for years. When you step back and think about the bigger picture, what stands out most is how each phase of the team complements the others. Williams may have had some rough outings, but his teammates never waver in their belief in him. Loveland may have started the year slow, but nobody doubted his potential inside the building. And the defense may not always deliver perfect performances, but they consistently find ways to make momentum-swinging plays. That interconnectedness has made Chicago one of the toughest teams to put away once they settle into the flow of a game. The chemistry between Williams and Loveland is especially interesting to watch. It is not often that a rookie quarterback and a rookie tight end develop timing this quickly, especially when both are still learning how to read professional defenses. But something about their connection feels natural. Williams trusts Loveland to make tight window catches, and Loveland trusts Williams to give him chances to turn small plays into big ones. The two have already produced several drives this season that show just how dangerous they can become once the small details fully click. Even in games where the offense sputters early, it rarely feels like panic sets in anymore. The Bears used to be the type of team that would collapse after one mistake. But now, when things go sideways, they regroup, adjust, and strike back. Part of that comes from the quarterback's composure, but part of it also comes from the collective confidence that has been building with every comeback, every late score, every crucial stop on defense. You can sense that they believe they are never out of a game. Take the recent matchup against Pittsburgh. The offense looked completely out of sync in the first half. The running game struggled to produce anything meaningful. The passing lanes closed too quickly, and drives fell apart because of miscommunication and missed throws. Yet even when Chicago fell behind by 14-7, there was no sense of panic on the sideline. Williams never looked rattled, never rushed, never forced the ball into coverage. Instead, he settled in, took what the defense gave him, and waited for the right opportunities to attack. His ability to shake off early struggles and finish strong says a lot about the type of player he is becoming. He has the natural talent that everyone raved about, but what is emerging now is the mental toughness that separates good quarterbacks from great ones. He is learning how to manage games, how to protect the football, and how to stay patient when defenses try to bait him into mistakes. Those are traits that define careers, and the fact that he is developing them in his first year speaks volumes. Chicago's receivers have also stepped up in ways that have made the offense more unpredictable. Instead of relying on one superstar to carry the load, the Bears have distributed responsibilities across the group, allowing each player to shine in different moments. Sometimes it is the veteran presence making the tough third down catch. Sometimes it is the younger option finding space in the middle of the field. That versatility forces defenses to defend every inch of the grass, giving Williams far more freedom to scan and pick apart coverages. The offensive line, while still inconsistent at times, has begun to show signs of stability. Early in the year, Williams was constantly dealing with pressure up the middle, forcing him to scramble before routes had time to develop. But as the unit gained experience and communication improved, the protection became more reliable. That improvement has allowed the quarterback to stay in rhythm, allowed the playbook to open up, and allowed the offense to take those deep shots that were almost impossible to attempt during the first month. Still, as much as the offense continues to grow, the team knows there are areas that must be sharpened if they want to turn this promising stretch into something more meaningful. Chicago cannot afford long stretches of stalled drives, especially against the tougher defenses that await them in the final weeks. They cannot rely solely on big plays from Loveland or improvisation from Williams. They need the running game to be more efficient, they need fewer penalties, and they need to build early momentum instead of waiting until the second half to wake up. Before we continue, don't forget to subscribe to our channel and give this video a like. Your support helps us keep bringing you the latest updates on our Chicago Bears. And don't be shy. Drop your thoughts on the news in the comments below. Rumors are swirling across the league after Kansas City Chiefs quarterback Patrick Mahomes made comments about the Chicago Bears that have left fans and analysts buzzing. Sources close to the star quarterback claim Mahomes didn't hold back, and what he said has sent shockwaves through social media. While the exact wording remains under wraps, insiders suggest his reaction wasn't your typical polite sportsman's nod. It was sharp, pointed, and in true Mahomes fashion, almost impossible to ignore. The buzz began shortly after a press conference when reporters tried to pin Mahomes down on his thoughts about the Bears' defense. Eyewitnesses say Mahomes smiled in a way that hinted he had more than just idle commentary to share. Those familiar with his communication style suggest his choice of words could signal frustration, respect, or perhaps a subtle warning about an upcoming clash. Some analysts speculate that Mahomes was indirectly criticizing Chicago's recent strategies, while others argue he was simply fueling the competitive fire with a playful jab. Either way, the moment was captured on video, and clips have been circulating nonstop, sparking heated debates among fans. What has made this situation even more intriguing is the timing. With both teams in the spotlight, Mahomes' remarks could be interpreted as a strategic psychological move. Could this be a masterstroke designed to get inside the Bears' heads before the next showdown? Or is it merely an offhand comment that was blown up by social media magnifying glasses? Pundits are divided. Some suggest that if Mahomes' words were carefully chosen, they might hint at a hidden game plan or a response to recent criticisms aimed at him or the Chiefs. Others believe it's just classic Mahomes charisma, effortlessly creating storylines wherever he goes. Fans are already taking sides online. Chiefs supporters are reveling in what they interpret as their quarterback's confidence, while Bears faithful are ready to defend their squad against what many see as an unwarranted dig. Hashtags are trending, sports talk shows are buzzing, and rumor mills are operating at full throttle. One thing is certain, whatever Patrick Mahomes said, it has captured attention, and speculation shows no signs of slowing down. As the chatter continues, everyone is left wondering, was it a calculated move, a spontaneous reaction, or just Mahomes being Mahomes? In a league where words can be as powerful as plays, Mahomes' statement has become the latest lightning rod, leaving fans, commentators, and even rival players eagerly dissecting every syllable. For now, all eyes are on him and the Bears to see if this verbal spark will ignite something bigger on the field. That's it for this update. If you enjoyed the video and want to stay updated with exclusive news about our Chicago Bears, be sure to subscribe to our channel and hit that like button. We can't wait to hear your thoughts in the comments. See you in the next video.